Testy,
Yep.
test.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Well, thanks for having me. This is great.
That's going to be the thumbnail that we're going to use for this recording, and that's what we're going to do.
That's perfect. I mean, wow.
Okay, let me put on a little timer on because I am going to try to keep us a little bit closer to like half hour, 40 minutes than I think last time we talked for like 2 hours or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And as fabulous as that is, I don't know if
People don't have that kind of time.
no, not for video. it's a little different for video.
They
than
have
it
lives
is.
to live.
People want to do stuff. It's weird. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to Jack and the Trades.
I love it.
So let's start it off with baby Britt.
Oh my God.
What did you
Baby Britt.
want to be when you were like 5 or 6?
Sailor Moon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's oddly specific.
I would do the transformation dance with her, like when she was doing it. I'm sure if you put it on, it would maybe come back and I could execute. I don't know if you've ever done this exercise, but it's quite fun. Have one of your good friends now, or I did it with one of my best friends from college, Justin. We watched an episode. We watched each other's favorite shows. And there was a moment where Sailor Moon was like, Rini, use the love in your heart to fight the darkness. And he turned to me and he's like, you make so much sense as a person. So if you want to just deep dive into who you are, put on your childhood favorite show. It's quite illuminating.
I mean, Sailor Moon was pretty badass at the time.
She was pretty epic. She was a little whiny, but that's okay. I respect that.
That's fair.
She's saving the world.
Yeah, she's got a lot on her shoulders.
Yeah, with her Sailor Scouts to help fight.
Yeah.
There's
only so much Tuxedo Mask could do for her.
I mean,
really.
one rose. Come on,
That's it.
Get a
Just-
bouquet,
just- I
bro.
know,
We got a lot of evil to fight.
It was a rather one-note thing, wasn't it?
But when I found out Sailor Moon was not a career,
That's fair. That's
devastating. Then I think I wanted to be a marine biologist for a hot minute because I thought they just swam with dolphins. I thought that was the job, which sounds great.
That does sound great,
Right?
actually.
I think that's how she called a dolphin trainer. But
Details.
and then at some point I definitely wanted to be an actor. It was when the Harry Potter movies were coming out and the kids were about my age, and so it was so cool to see some of the
big.
it was huge.
Yeah.
And it was so, I remember sitting outside of a Barnes and Noble to get a ticket to be one of the first people to buy the book. It was such a cultural thing. The devastation on your birthday when the owl letter doesn't come, it was such a part of your life. And so I think seeing the kids, I remember seeing some of the behind the scenes moments with them, and I was like, God, that just looks so fun and so cool, and such a community, and this belonging and creating something together. And I think that's what spearheaded this curiosity about acting. And I followed that for a really long time. I think that's what I wanted to do. But I remember at one point, I asked someone, I'm like, when you work out or listen to music, do you ever just imagine movie trailers in your mind? And they're like, no, that's not a thing. I'm like, no.
Nobody
people
else?
People don't do that.
Nobody? No one? Okay.
And I just had a lot of people along the way kind of winking at it, saying, I think you're supposed to be doing film. I think you actually should be making films. Was wise enough at least to sort of listen to that and entertain that idea. And then eventually I realized that I always wanted to be on the other side.
Nice.
But it all fed into it. I mean, with film, writing, acting, directing, it's all this creative world building that all kind of feeds into each other. And I think some people are really passionate about doing all of them, and I think that's absolutely possible. And then some people kind of find which lane, those skills best fit into. So
You mentioned, because not only are you a director, you also you write a lot of your own material. What is that aspect of storytelling where you're like, no, I don't just want to visually tell you the story. I want my words in someone's mouth. I want my world for you to step into, and I want you to see something not just through my eyes, but feel my whatever.
Well, it's my favorite thing, as a director, I guess my tagline is saying the unsaid in picture form. And that's what's so great about film. I spent a lot of time studying theater, which is amazing because, you're with this live audience experiencing something in real time. And if there's a mistake, it becomes the fabric of this experience that everyone has together that no one else will ever get. There's no performance that's the same. And there's something so beautiful about that. But film, what I love about it so much is you get to direct the audience's attention in different places. And you get to show them something that you really want them to zoom in on. When you're in a theater, it's like they could be looking at anything, hopefully not their phone, but they could be looking at the set design, or they could be looking at an actor who's not giving a monologue, who's just reacting or what have you. But in film, you get to direct it I could just show someone this pair of glasses on this ottoman for an excruciating long amount of time, 15 seconds, which doesn't sound long, but that feels very long. And then people will start to, hopefully, it'll affect them and make them start to think something. Why am I showing these glasses? Well, they're upside down. What does that tell you? And I think, there's this quote, a picture tells 1,000 words.
Yes.
I'm going to be so embarrassed when I go home and realize I've forgotten which filmmaker said this. But there's this whole idea of then cinema is truth 24 times every second, because there's 24 frames every second. So if you think about that, some very famous filmmaker said this. This is not a quote from me, to be very clear. It's like Tarkovsky said this or something, and I'm forgetting. But
Brittany Falardeau said that. No. From her. She's holy. Her
my face on Instagram. But I think that's what's so neat is then I love films where a filmmaker just shows you, like wallpaper, and you're like, oh, it has texture, and I think film is a way to speak to people's subconscious, and that's what's really exciting to me, because there is, as we all know, I think language can fail us a lot of the times, and it can only go so far. And it's like, how do you express something? That's what's so beautiful about art, is you take these things that feel inexpressible and you put them into something that people feel. And then we all try and intellectualize it and speak from intellect, which is so odd. I always tell actors one of the hardest things is to know something on an instinctual, spiritual, guttural, human level, and then have to translate it to my intellect to then speak to their intellect for them to then translate down to their own human, primal, guttural, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's this funny little three-sided rectangle almost. And so I think film, it can just go direct in a way.
Is there any film in your, upbringing or even young adulthood that you were like, that, I want to do that? That stuff spoke to you on a subconscious level, I guess?
Yes, and it's going to be a very polarizing answer, I'm aware of. So if everyone signs off after this answer, thanks for listening. Sorry, Michelle, for tanking your podcast. But for me, it was The Tree of Life. I went to see it, the Terrence Malick film. A friend of mine in high school was a big film buff. I really wasn't at that point. I was a theater kid. My parents were always like, play outside, don't watch movies. I didn't grow up loving cinema, aside from a few Steven Spielberg films that my cool uncles let me watch when I was way too young. But
traumatizing you early. Got it.
Yeah. Jaws, really loved it and terrified. Very young age.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. To this day, I can't even pool sometimes. I'm like, that's okay. It's too deep.
Those little, lines at the bottom just always look like hammerhead sharks.
They just, I don't know. Something about a kid's imagination. You're like, it could happen.
Right. It could come through the drain. But a friend of mine had mentioned he was going to go see this film, The Tree of Life, invited me. I went, and I remember watching that film. And of course, Malick, all of his films have just this beautiful cinematography that always feels like it's pushing the envelope. And of course, there's many, many filmmakers that came before him as well, but I came very late to the party of film in many ways. And so that was the first film I remember watching and thinking, oh my God, you can do that in film. Because I was very used to just seeing, kind of single, double, master, the end, we move on.
Yeah.
And just the way in which he was framing things and moving the camera and his approach to it. That's a big part of the reason why I love Malick so much. And again, I know this is very polarizing, but for me, that was the first invitation into cinema of you can really use this medium in a way that I hadn't seen before.
Are there any other filmmakers these days that you're like, they're other ones to watch, I guess?
There's so many. I'm like,
who are your top 5 and go?
The Pandora's box has been opened. I think, there's so many that do things so interesting. Another film that really opened the doors for me, I am sure I'm going to butcher his last name. Xavier Dolan, I think is how you say his last name. His feature film debut, I believe it was his debut, called Mommy, which I think he was 23 years old or something when he made this film, which is amazing.
I didn't realize he was so young.
But there was a shot in that where he's playing with aspect ratio that I don't even want to say, because I think a lot of people haven't seen this film. Maybe I'm sure all the film buffs have, but some people probably haven't seen it. So just go in and experience it.
Nice.
But when you get there, you'll know. He did something really breathtaking with aspect ratio. Again, where I get so excited when filmmakers are pushing the envelope and trying different things. And even I would rather see a film that maybe doesn't necessarily really resonate with me or speak to me, but if I can feel the filmmaker's voice through it and it feels like it has their fingerprints all over it, that's where I get really excited. Where you look at a film and you're like, in the hands of anybody else, this would be a completely different film. And that's what I think is so exciting.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I agree. There's definitely some filmmakers that you're like, oh, this is a
you can tell right away.
And you're
it's
like,
great.
okay, that's it. Well, let's go back to your, if you don't mind going to your projects. Your latest one, you just did a feature. Is this your first feature? Is that correct?
Yes, debut.
How is that different from some of the shorts you've done?
Much longer, not just in like.
Okay, all right. I guess I stepped
And
into
thanks for
that
having
one.
me, Michelle.
Thanks,
That's it.
guys. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. That's all we got time for today.
Just the process is obviously much longer and much more involved. And I mean, it's funny because there's so many skills that directly translate over, but I think the biggest difference is it just is so much more of a business. You know, a lot of times on short films, you gather your friends and it's a weekend and you're kind of in and out. And with a film, I mean, you know, you have multiple attorneys and you're filing with the SEC and, you know, you are you have to get different permits for having minors on set. And there's just so much more that's involved.
Yeah.
Not to say that it can't be on a short film, but it's just a bigger project. So there's a lot more that you're navigating and dealing with. And that's been fun. It's like mini business school in many ways, I suppose.
I'm sure, yeah, because like you said, you can't just. It's a lot more difficult to just cobble it together with like, you know, chewing gum and shoestring and be like, this is a project.
And all of the pieces, you know, when it's 2 days, it's easy if something dropped, or not easy, but it's a smaller window that you have to wrangle and manage all the things. When you're on a bigger project and something that just extends longer, there's just so many more pieces. It feels like going from like a piano player and a singer to like a, you know, full blown orchestra. You're like, there's just a lot more that has to harmonize. And so
yeah, I'm sure
that keeps it very busy. And also though, I think on the creative side, which in many ways is more exciting, arguably, is you get to spend more time with a story and you get to dive deeper into characters and a theme. And I think there's more space for the things that I really love in film, the quieter moments, the more nuanced moments, honestly, the pieces that other people I think might tap out where they're like, nothing's happening. I'm like, it's wallpaper. Look at it. It's amazing.
feel this now.
Feel it. But it almost feels like, because then you can kind of have these bigger actiony moments, then it almost dovetails really nicely into those calmer moments. And in a short film, it's harder, I think, to get more of those in there. So I really enjoy it from that aspect too, is there's just more that you can blend together and weave together, and more of a journey you get to take as a filmmaker, but also then through the art itself, which is really exciting.
Very cool. Is there anything about this story that you can tell us about? Any, like, I guess the themes of what you're diving into and what made you choose that direction?
Yeah. For me, at the very, very core of this film, it's about those times in life when we find ourselves seemingly alone in darkness. Obviously not literal darkness, metaphorical darkness. And I've found in my experience up till this point, I've been on both sides of this, where there can be many people that love you and support you and have a hand extended and are encouraging you. And you have to be able to grab yourself metaphorically by the bootstraps, as I like to say, and tell yourself, get up, kid, our story isn't over yet. And that's, I found, one of the hardest things to do. And no one can drag you out of it, and you can't drag anybody else out of it. Again, you can be there on the sidelines, so to speak,
cheering them on,
but it has to come from you. And it's excruciatingly difficult to do that. And how do you do that when it feels like, when you feel like you've lost your why stand up? And so there's a lot more on top of this film. The journey is much is quite different from that, I suppose. But at the core, that was a theme that I was really inspired by. And Michael, my husband and co-producer, co-writer, it was something that he also resonated with and that we wanted to explore. And so that's sort of the seed that's at the root of this film altogether.
Very cool. And correct me if I'm mistaken. I know that at least one of the characters, if not some of the characters in this film, are hearing impaired. Is there a reason why you chose? Was there a reason why you were like, no, it has to be this way, or you're like, no, I thought it was a fun thing. And, why not?
So when we were writing the script and first outlining it, Michael and I did the thing that everyone tells you not to do, which is we wrote the script for two specific people in mind. Which everyone says, don't do that, because then if they say no, you'll be heartbroken. And we're like, okay. And we're going to
jump in
anyway. And so we had Daniel, who's a dear friend of mine I've known since high school, was one of the individuals we had in mind and just wanted to work with and collaborate with again. And then we ended up at a stand-up comedy show down in Santa Monica, and a stand-up comedian named Harold Fox was performing. He's a deaf stand-up comedian. He's absolutely brilliant. He's hilarious. We'd never seen him perform before. And the whole car ride home, we were just like, that was unbelievable. Like, who is this actor? And so we were just inspired by his whole performance. And he just has so much light as a person and as a performer. And Daniel has so much intensity. And we just couldn't get the two of them out of our minds and said, well, what if we had both of them in a film together? What would that look like? And that's really what started opening the doors to this script.
Cool.
So I waited until after Harold was cast and accepted the role, because I'm like, is this going to be like weird him out? I'm like, hi, I wrote this part for you. Okay. But he was very nice about it. He's like, oh, that's so nice. And
that's awesome.
He's fantastic. And the two of them together are fantastic. But that really was the seed of incorporating sign language into the film and learning more about how to just write a script with, the script, my native language of English is not the primary language in this film. It's German and American Sign Language. So that was...
Way to set that bar low.
Yeah, right? I was like, let's go for something easy.
Let's just toss it in there. Nice.
Many German consultants. I'm like, hi, did I get this right again? But it was such an amazing experience, and just getting to collaborate with so many different people, then making sure that we were representing both languages well. And it just opened the doors for a lot of collaboration with people that we maybe wouldn't have been in touch with on a different film.
Had you not done that way. Very cool. Is there anything that you were like, maybe... never do a film like this, but we did it that way outside of writing
languages
for two people and maybe doing languages, or like something they're like, I wish I had known this before I started this project.
What not to do?
Or to do.
It's funny because when we our casting director Macy, when we sent her the script, she called me and she was like, Britt, you said this was this easy film. Like, what are you there? You have children, you have VFX shots, you're shooting in a remote. Look, are you out of your mind? I'm like, it's not that, it's going to be easy.
So blind, just faith in the process is what
so much faith.
Got it.
Yeah. There were a lot of components, but I think we again, just made sure that we were collaborating with people that could help support us in areas that, like VFX, we really didn't know much about incorporating a ton of VFX. But I want to say it was Sidney Lumet who said this, again, terrible with who quoted what, but there was a quote somewhere I read in a book that they were interviewing filmmakers, and they said, I think it's good that first-time filmmakers don't know how hard it is to make a movie, because if they did, none of us would ever do it. And so I actually think that's kind of the best thing is just start, and you're going to get into it. And every day there's going to be things come up that you're like, oh, we have to do that. Oh, we have to do that. Oh, okay. We have to do that too. Oh, need that. I think Armin, Michael, my co-producer, he was the lead producer on this project, has an MBA. He's a business guy through and through. Yeah. That was so deeply helpful. Just someone who understands that world and just knows, it can help navigate a lot of that, or is just used to seeing certain documents, or it has a better understanding of what's standard. Mm-hmm. That was deeply helpful. I do recommend, if possible, if there's someone who has a strong business background, to help shepherd that forward.
Right.
but every film is just so, it's this focused amount of time that you have a group of people together and you're just having to navigate and pivot quickly. And so there's no real way to prepare for that except for onboarding the absolute best people you can. And you are going to have people that just you mesh with brilliantly out of the blue, and you're going to have people who work differently than you, and you're both going to teach each other a lot, and there's going to be challenges, and there's going to be days where you think, well, I guess being a librarian doesn't sound so bad. Librarians everywhere, like it is very difficult to be, it actually is very difficult to become a librarian from what I've heard.
Actually, the amount of education you need to become a librarian is much more extensive than people think.
So then you'll say, all right, I guess we have to finish this movie because that's also off the table.
That's all we gotta do. That's it. That's all you get.
But I think it's the more that you can just mentally prepare yourself that things are going to go wrong. That's part of the job. And it is not my job to stop every single thing from going wrong. It's to be able to make decisions quickly, to make decisions to the best of my capability, to have grace when I mess up, to have grace when other people mess up, and to just keep continually trying to pull this thing back on course if things happen, because they do all sorts of crazy things you're not even thinking about. We had lightning, not where we were. You look up and it was like the most beautiful sunset you could ever hope to see. And
whoa, okay.
The production team came to me and they said, we have to stop filming. And I was like, why do we have to stop filming? They said, well, because there's lightning. And I was like, are you sure? It looks quite lovely out right now. I said, no, there's lightning 17 miles away. And if it's within 20 miles, we have to shut down because you have grips carrying C-stands and things. It's really dangerous. And so we immediately shut down and watched a beautiful sunset for a while. And then eventually the lightning moved and was further than 20 miles. I think it was 20. Don't quote me on this number. They knew that I believe it's 20, but whatever the appropriate distance is. And so we were able to start filming again, but at this point we're 2 hours behind. So you just have to, again, be prepared. Be like, what shots do I not need? How can we move quicker? What can I be preparing? What rehearsals can I be doing while we're waiting for this lightning to move? You just are constantly shuffling puzzle pieces around and trying to figure out how to get the absolute bare minimum sometimes, in situations like that to get it across the finish line.
Right. So you weren't just kumbayaing and watching the sunset as one group. That was in my mind for a second. For
that small lightning break, we were. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think we were running rehearsals, and some people went to like just power nap and things like that because we were doing mostly night shoots, like 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. almost every day or something to that effect. So it was kind of fun. The cruise probably it was not fun, Britt, but
not fun. Negative.
The silver lining, I suppose, was there was something kind of nice about around the sunrise and being like, oh, this is peaceful and kind of poetic, but it was
also stressful because you have a job to do.
Very tiring. Yeah. I think everyone was pretty sleepy by the end of it.
This, I think, is your first foray into. Do you consider it a thriller or a horror or suspense, or I don't know what's your genre?
We're calling it horror. I mean, I'd say it's more of a thriller horror. It's more, I think it's more on par with like a Jaws or A Quiet Place or something with more thrilling moments. It's not gory. It's not a slasher. I think horror is such a wide umbrella these days, which is so exciting.
It is.
People are really doing some interesting things within the genre, but I'd say it's a more horror thriller, I suppose.
So no cocaine bear in your future.
No cocaine, not yet.
That's true. Never say never.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself moving more in this realm in the future, or you're like, this is good for now? I have no idea what the next project holds. I don't know how seeped in this when you still are before you're like, I can't think about that, Mish. Like it's too.
No, we're so Michael and I, we have another script that I anticipate will be our sophomore film. Well, of course, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Which is also, I'd say, a horror thriller. We have a third script that's written that is just much more straight thriller. And then, of course, we have a couple dramas that we'd love to do too.
Of course.
But as every creative knows, you sort of have your slate of things and you just see what starts to
bubble,
take off. Yeah. I mean, this script, we actually wrote this script. We started writing it last October 2024 because the film that we now have slated to be our sophomore film. Originally, we wanted to do that one much bigger budget, and every call we took and every Norby knocked on, Norby knocked on, Norby knocked on, the Norby knocked on. Don't know what that was like. Transylvania, like
I don't know, but
Dracula
I mean, it was
accent.
a cool character. We can
Thank
we
you.
can go forward with that.
But as we started walking on the path of trying to make that film, just realized very quickly that it just felt like the snake that kept eating its tail. It just got bigger and bigger, and we're like, okay, I don't think this is the one that wants
To go first.
Yeah. And so that's where we said, okay, well, what if it was contained? It was down to 2 people. That's where we ended up seeing Harold's show, and the pieces just started to come together. And so we finished it a year ago today, actually, December 8th, I remember, was the day we sent it over to Daniel to read, and kind of crossed our fingers and said, I hope he likes it, and says yes. And he did, thank God. Because he had asked to read it before accepting the part. And
That's fair.
but so long story short, through that process, we've created a slate, and then you just have to kind of be ready to pivot based on what feels
Powers
like
that
is
be.
taking off. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very cool. What I guess what are your hopes for? I know that coming off that last question, that doesn't really. You're like, whatever comes up, Michelle. Dream scenario. Where are you in 5 years? I guess maybe that is the way to say it.
I think dream scenario in 5 years would be at least in pre-production on our 3rd film, whatever that is. If it's whether it's one from our slate or a different film that someone reaches out to us, I think in 5 years having another one completed and out in the world, and then starting on the 3rd would feel really great. Yeah, I think that's it.
And that's a wrap.
And that's it.
You also, like we had touched on earlier, you work in dubbing and post, and you deal with a lot with, funneling other people's, localizing other people's work into the larger context. One, how do you think that knowing that process in post has influenced maybe how you work in post? And 2, would you ever want to have one of your pieces translated and dubbed, or would you prefer to stick with the subtitles?
I think, what's interesting is with this film, because of the nature, actually, I don't know if I've told the premise at all, but it takes place in Germany, and it follows a American backpacker who's played by Harold. So a deaf American backpacker finds himself stranded in the German Black Forest. He stumbles upon a rural German farmer who knows no English, so they can't write to each other. There's no traditional means of communication. And he has to figure out if he can trust this individual or if this individual is actually a threat. And so what's unique about that is in the opening of the film, there is a bit of sign language. And then once our lead character, who's played by Harold, finds himself, with this German farmer trying to figure out whether he can trust this person, there's no spoken dialogue, and there's no signed dialogue either. There's no traditional language. There's a little bit of writing, but that goes out the window pretty quickly. So in terms of localizing, the subtitles absolutely would be localized, but there's
nothing to dub.
There's nothing to dub. So, which is sort of hilarious. You would think I maybe would have taken the opportunity to lean into that strength. I was like, abandon, we'll just pivot sharp left.
Don't need it. Okay.
But I think that's what's sort of neat is, again, there are a few moments of subtitles that would be localized. But other than that, there's a large section of this film, because we're following a character who's either by himself or interacting with people who don't have who don't know English. It leaves sort of, hopefully, a more universal viewing experience of just seeing people interact without the tool of language. So it's funny because someone had asked us, like, do you just exactly that in post for dubbing and things like that. I'm like, there's nothing to dub, you guys. I think all territories will be okay with this breathing.
Yeah.
We're not going to.
I don't know.
That would be wild. But moving forward, I think it'd be kind of fun to see a project taken through that process and to get to see it on the reverse and see how other territories handle it. that's something that I think is really cool about localization, as well as the challenges. As we know with every language, there's no one for one. There's nuances to the language, grammar structure, just the way humor works, or metaphors, or and so that's something. So it's a little bit of a window into culture and into how people process things or connect or communicate. It's such an exciting thing that I've really loved in working with localization, and I think it would be neat to see our film taken through that process. Not this film in particular for the reasons I've already stated, but another film taken through that process, just to see how it's treated and handled, and what else, I imagine it might open up other things with the material.
Nice. Sidebar. Would you ever work in comedy? I don't know why that just popped in my head.
I definitely would. I don't think I'm funny, which everyone laughs at.
She's hilarious. Okay.
I mean, I think I can be kind of witty, on the sly, but in terms of comedy really intimidates me, and I find it very challenging. I would absolutely be open to it, and would be so curious what that would look like. And I think it would be very fun, but I don't feel at this moment it's my greatest strength and the thing I would sprint into. But watch now, the next film, someone's gonna call me. Yeah.
You've just spoken that into existence.
There we go.
Done. Is there anybody that you are dying to work with?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, where does the list stop? I mean, on it, Meryl Streep, 100%. I would do anything. If Meryl Streep was like, I just want to sit on a couch and smoke a cigarette and look at a houseplant for 2 hours, I'd be like, I will do it. She's like, it'll take 4 years. I'm like, I'm in. Watch, that's her passion piece.
Little did you know, I read a story that's exactly what she wants.
Meant to be. Her and Cate Blanchett, those women are just powerhouses and have so much grace. And I think they are so rooted in truth in everything they do that, again, her sitting on a couch looking at a houseplant, I think would actually be one of the most fascinating, interesting things. I would watch it on loop. So I would love to work with the two of them in particular. And then, of course, I mean, there's so many talented people out there right now just making bold, exciting, unique art. And I feel really, really fortunate that on my first feature film, I got to collaborate with so many people that I just admire as artists. And I really love working with, some of which I've known for many years. And then some like Harold, who I, met very recently and who was just so gracious and said yes to this project and was a dream to work with. Sometimes you get lucky like that.
Yeah. I'm debating whether or not I want to include the questions that I used to always sign off on my last one.
Oh.
On the last iteration of this podcast. We'll start with the first ones, and then I may or may not take off the last one. These are not my questions. These are I stole off of a show that I used to love called The Actor Studio. But he would always sign off the shows with a series of questions, and there's no right or wrong answer. There's no, it's not a test. It's just a, So what is your favorite sound?
My favorite sound? Oh, this is a weird one.
Yeah, these are all the weird questions.
It's funny because I haven't thought about this in a really long time until you asked me this question. But there was this girl I went to grade school with. This is how deep this sound goes. And when she would write with a pen, I don't know how she wrote really deep into the paper or had really thick handwriting, and she'd write double-sided. And the sound of those pages turning, I don't know why, was so satisfying to me.
Oh.
It has an extra...
like a crinkling
to it. I can still hear it right now, and it's funny. I haven't thought about that in forever.
You're welcome.
Yes, circa Ali Schmidt in 1996 or whatever. Not 6. We were too young to be writing. Anyway, 98.
Close enough. What's your least favorite sound?
My least favorite sound. I don't know if I have a specific least favorite sound, but I do know if there's too much chaotic sound happening all at once, really big Michael, my husband, God bless him, loves theme parks. He was a Disney Imagineer for 17 years, loves parks. And I'm always like, can we go out Sunday right when it opens when no one is there? Just because it certain places, if there's all these different noises, it's too much and really stresses me out. And the introvert in me is I need a quiet place to hide. It's if they're all working together, beautiful. But when it's just chaos from every angle,
the cacophony of it all.
Yeah, I just turn into a house cat and I want to run and hide under a couch.
That's fair. I definitely have a social battery that's I have to tell my husband sometimes, be like, okay, the battery is spent. I gotta go. I love you. I don't even want to talk to you right now. It's not because I feel any sort of way. It's just my battery is spent. So I get that. What is your favorite word? There we go. That's what it was.
My favorite word recently is and. I love the word and this is why. Because it allows two things that seem like they would be in contrast to be true. So I can say, I so appreciate you inviting me to this thing, and I don't have the social battery to come.
Okay.
Both get to exist instead of, I so appreciate you, but I don't have the social battery. All of a sudden it feels like heavy and negative, and it feels like the second one takes precedent. Or I love you so much, and I can't talk politics right now, or whatever it is, right? I think a lot of people can relate to that, whatever your political beliefs are. Or, I mean, you get the general idea. It allows for both things to be completely valid and true. And that's just my favorite word as of late.
What's your least favorite word?
My least favorite word. I don't know if I have a least favorite word. I know some people can't do, there's some words that make them moist. Are you a moist person?
It's not my favorite, and that's odd because I am a baker. But
yes, you are.
It's Alex, my husband, loves to be like, it's really moist. Just because
does it make you cringe?
The cringe of it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I try not to give into it too much, just because I'm stubborn. I don't want to give him the satisfaction. But yes, internally it would be like little, like a.
That's
I don't like.
yeah.
It. It's not my favorite.
I don't think I have anything quite I know a lot of people feel that way about that word, but I don't think I have anything quite like that. And in terms of just a word I don't like.
Is there anything visually that you're like, ooh?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I have a specific example, but Michael can tell you. And I think that's where the director in me comes through too. It's visually, I don't have a specific thing, but I just know if I'm it's not working, and I will nitpick. I'll know when it's time. I'll, if someone else is look at my Christmas card, I'm not going to be I'll be okay, great, awesome.
Christmas cards,
perfect, bring them out. But if it's something that I'm setting up or responsible for, or if it's where we're putting something in our house or things like that, I get really particular, and I'm aware of it. I can own it. That's my stuff. Sometimes I'm okay, you know what? I release. Yep. Looks good.
Everyone has their things, and I can't judge. So, yeah. On that note, this is the one that some people don't like to curse, and I totally get that. So for some people, I started to omit this. However, I know you generally enough to think to be able to say you do curse sometimes. What is your favorite curse word?
I think fuck, and the reason is because I think usually when it's used as a frustration or an expression of extreme emotion, the sounds of that word, I think, just so accurately articulate the emotion behind it.
Oh yeah.
And then also it can be used as a good thing too, which I guess a lot of them can be, but out of all of them, I think just the sound of that word and the structure of the letters and all of that, not to sound so pretentious about a swear word, but I think when used well, you're that is the only accurate word to describe that emotion right now.
Yeah, that works. Do you have one? For me, sometimes when I get really frustrated, I will switch into Spanish because for some reason it scratches that itch just a little bit. Do you ever switch into a different language, or you're I stick with the English? Because I know you speak a little bit German.
I do speak a little bit of German. I speak a little bit of French. French just sounds so pretty, though, I think.
True.
Even the curse words, you're wow.
That's too elegant.
I think so, yeah.
That's okay.
But I don't think so. I love when people do that, though. That's amazing that you do that with Spanish. I love it.
Usually only in the car, because I don't really want to be cursing like that in front of... Because usually, in English, it's one syllable. In Spanish, you can start to string along the whole little thing. It's okay, it's not that serious, but it is. It stamps that little need, or that little scratches that itch where you're just I just want to tell you, not only do I not like you right now, I just think really viscerally this much.
Let me leave no room for confusion.
There's no confusion there. That is we are at 40 minutes, so it's right about the sweet spot. What I wanted, what I was hoping for. Watch, I'm like slouching and looking like, that's great. This could be great.
I mean, I've just full on melted into the couch and I've embraced it.
It's unlock.
A great couch though. It's so cozy.
I know. She's a little old though. I need to get a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna unlock a whole new slew of insecurities. This is gonna be fun for me in the edit. So yeah, that's the end. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And we will call this the end now. Yay. Done.